Hello, everyone. I think you can see me. I can't see me, so I'm hoping that you can. Welcome. So we're going to get started right away. It is absolutely awesome to be here. If you want to turn your camera on, you can, but you don't have to. If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine too. There is a chat box where you can put some chats in there once we get started. And I'm super excited. I won't have my guests turn on their cameras or their sound just yet, because we'll do a little bit of an introduction first and talk a little bit about Banff and Jasper. I just want to make sure that you can see me. I think you can. There we go. I'm looking at the list of names, and it's really fun to see all of you joining me today. Thank you so much for continually coming back every couple of weeks to join me to talk about all these magnificent places in Canada. You all know that my passion is Canada, and it's been such an amazing couple of weeks because our phones are starting to ring. We're getting inquiries, we're getting bookings, not only for 2021 bookings, but we're actually getting bookings for like August and early September. We are encouraging people to try and travel within their own province, because that's sort of the regulations that are out there right now, but they're slowly starting to change and we're starting to open up, which is really exciting. I hope that you're all staying safe and healthy and you're practicing social distancing. I know I am. I'll have a couple of personal anecdotes to share with you that's happened this week. First of all, you all know I love, love, love Canada, and my dad knows how much I love Canada too, because that's all I ever talk about. So he got me a gift this week, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but he bought me a book called Disasters of Western Canada, because it has Canada in the name of it. And I said, Dad, that's probably not the most appropriate book to be giving me right now, but we had a good chuckle about it. And I wanted to share something else with you. Since I've been working from home and connecting with very few people because I'm stuck in my house most of the time, I made a new friend, and she lives next door. Her name is Sammy. She's 10. And so she's gotten to know me quite well because we kind of hang out a bit. And she did a portrait of me yesterday. I'm going to share it with you because some of you can relate to this. If you notice this portrait, what's the first thing that you notice? Do you notice my COVID roots? So you can clearly see that I do have the COVID root thing that I'm going to fix tomorrow, but I thought it was pretty clever that she actually accented my root issue. Very fun. So it's wonderful to have you all here. I've seen some comments. Oh, that's wonderful. Cheryl, she actually went for a big walk before you joined us. That's great. Hi, Anne. Hello, Colleen. Shelly, it's wonderful to have you all here. So before we get started, let me tell you a couple of things. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. This is a really exciting happy hour because we've kind of gone off of our regular traditional style, and we're going to do that a little bit for the next few weeks to add some spice to what we're doing and to share some really cool products. I have been to Banff and I love Banff. I've been there many times. So I'll show you a few things with you about that, but keep in mind when we're talking about Banff and Lake Louise in those areas, that the best thing to do right now would be look at self-drive vacations for your clients and RV rentals. And we're having a webinar on July, I think it's 6th. I'll send it out to you on updates for RV rentals and how you can book them through Anderson Vacations and the commission rates and all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. We'll talk about that. Yeah, that's good. Let's talk a bit about Banff. Let me just see if I can jump to my next slide. Give me one sec. Okay, so you know me, most of you. There's a few new names, which is really exciting. I am Darcie Guarderas, and I've been with Anderson Vacations for quite a while now. I'm the host of today's webinar. Anderson Vacations is a 26-year-old company, Canada-based and Calgary-based, and we're super, super excited to be the first place that you're thinking of, hopefully, for your clients to travel within Canada. There's never been a better time. There's way less lineups going to be this summer. Places like Banff and Lake Louise, without having international guests, it's perfect for us to explore our own backyards. So we're getting really excited about that. That's for sure. Beverage of choice. Okay, so I started out with my beer, which is from Banff Avenue Brewing. This is a, what did I choose? I chose a pale ale tonight, but I started drinking before the seminar started, the webinar started, so I knew I was gonna run out. And because if you were on a little bit early, you might have heard me talking about it. when I was in college in 1988 in Calgary at the Career College for my tourism program, we would take trips to Banff. And one particular trip, we used to go there and drink a lot of Caesars. So I have a backup drink here for when my beer is gone. I do have a Caesar, which reminds me of Banff very much so, and the time that we were riding back home in the bus, and 17 of us decided we would fit into the bathroom on the bus all together at one time, which probably wasn't a good idea, but it was tons of fun. I'm just looking at the comments. I see that there's a couple people having a Merlot. Wonderful. It's so great to see all your names and have you with me. Let's get going. So I do have a couple stories about Banff of my own. These are some photographs. The one in the middle, quite old, but the one on the left actually is very recent. In October, I was on the Rocky Mountaineer coming from Vancouver to Banff with a group, and it was amazing because it was October and we rolled into Banff on Rocky Mountaineer, and it was glorious because it had snowed. And that photo was from my hotel room at the Rimrock. And when I opened my curtains in my room, it was like this icing dripping off of the trees. And I had this really Christmassy seasonal feeling, and it was only October, but it was really magical, absolutely beautiful. The photo in the middle is even quite a long time ago, down by the river. And actually just before this photograph was taken, there was a bunch of wildlife all over the place. And I think that's one of the best parts of going to Banff is the wildlife. And I know that Lindsay and Rose are going to touch a bit on that. And the picture on the right is actually really cool because that's of course, it's a phone booth. The phone's no longer there because nobody needs phones anymore. We all have them. But if you look really closely at the silver part, those are actually claw marks from a bear that got in there. I guess, I'm not sure if it was winter or summer, but absolutely amazing. Super, super cool. I also actually did a little bit of research. I love the Banff Springs Hotel, and Lindsay's going to talk a bit about that. One thing before I get into that, I also want to mention something. There's a prize for you guys today. Everyone who attended, you didn't know this, we're going to draw after the webinar is over. And Lindsay and Rose have an awesome prize package that they're going to send out to one winner at the end. So that's super exciting. Let's see what else I wanted to talk on. Okay, so basically, you know what I forgot to tell you about the beer that I'm drinking? From Banff Avenue Brewing, their slogan for beer is drink beer, live forever. And that's a slogan that I can definitely get behind. So they have a sister company in Jasper that started. It was 3 young guys who started it. So if you're in Banff, go to that brewery because you want to support them. And they actually are supporting our little gift basket at the very end. So that's important for you to know as well. That's super fun. Let's get back to the Banff Springs Hotel for just 1 minute because I have some really fun stories from the Banff Springs. You all know that the Banff Springs Hotel is haunted, right? Well, I remember going there for a wedding. One of my best friends got married there, and she came down this gorgeous staircase. And there's actually a story of the bride, a bride who on her wedding night fell down that staircase and died. And now she haunts the Banff Springs hotels. So if you go to the Cascade Ballroom, if you're lucky, you can see her dancing alone in the ballroom. There's also another special room in the hotel. It's room 873 that's known for all kinds of paranormal activity. So if you dare and you want to stay at the Banff Springs Hotel, ask for room 873. Several stories. Apparently there was a murder there. I think it was in 1928. And there was a guy, a husband who killed his family. And there's been several occurrences where they found like bloodied handprints on the mirror in the room. So that's super creepy. And there's also a story about in the hotel in the Banff Springs that there was, when the hotel was built, it was built apparently by the architect backwards. It should have been facing where the beautiful views are, so it messed everything up. And when they had to fix it and switch it all around, there's a little room called the Lost Room that they didn't even know about. That was actually boarded up. They covered it up so no one knew. And in 26, there was a fire in the hotel, and they discovered this tiny little lost room that nobody knew about. So those are some cool things about the Banff Springs Hotel. I love stories. I love to hear things that are unique and interesting that you can share with your clients. Get them intrigued, get them excited about going. Wonderful. Let's go back 1 second here. Mountains, skiing, hiking. You've got, of course, the hot springs. Banff really was created as a tourism destination. That's what it's all about. And so it's fabulous for outdoors. And with everything that's going on right now, when you think about having your clients travel, they're going to be looking for outdoor experiences, fresh air, nature, not being in crowds. And like I mentioned before, definitely this is the time to go to avoid the crowds because all the international guests won't be coming. So it's a perfect time to promote Banff and Lake Louise. So without further ado, let's see if we can get to our special guests today. We have Lindsay and Rose. Lindsay is the sales manager and sales and group services at Discover Banff Tours. And Rose is with us tonight. She's having a beer with us, but she's actually going to be featured in some video clips that are really cool that they did on site. So they spent a lot of time for us actually touring around to different places so that they could actually make these awesome little videos for us. So let me just see if I can, Lindsay, can you share your screen?
No, not yet. You have to let me share it and then I'll be able to.
Okay, let me see how I can do that. New share. Thanks everyone for bearing with us while we stop sharing.
Yeah, so Darcie, you've taken all of my stories, so thank you for
that. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
So,
you know, are you good? Are you good if we keep it on my screen? Everyone can still see my screen. We'll keep it on my screen. You let me know when you want me to change the slide, okay?
Yeah, absolutely we can. So just to share just a little bit about Rose and I, we are also friends. We do a lot of stuff together. You guys are going to find out more about us as we go through and talk about some of the different things in here. I'm definitely not a guide. I do not know all the dates. I don't get all of the facts right. So Rose is here as my support system. She's the one who's really going to be giving the correct information, and I'll be the one sharing all the terrible jokes. So look forward to that. General manager just said that is very true as he's running out of here. Awesome. So we'll go to the next slide. Just to tell you guys a little bit more about Discover Banff Tours and about us. So we too are a Canadian-owned company, so we've been around for 20 years. We started in November 1999. Jonathan, who's still the owner-operator today, he saw that there wasn't a product that was available for people to learn more about Banff and the national parks and the systems. And so he started a Discover Banff and its Wildlife tour, and that's actually still a tour that we run and operate today. He leased a rafting bus because they weren't using it in the winter. He had one phone that he called a reservation store. He took it to the bar with him. I don't know how much business was done there, but it worked out. So we're still around today. We have around 28 vehicles or so, and a team dedicated to sharing our passion and knowledge all about the park and Banffin area. So we too are rocking Banff Ave Brew Co. So we have some awesome cans of beer here. We're drinking the Ride or Die. And when it says, when the stakes are high, ride or die, that's the slogan for this beer. So that's what we're doing today. We do also have some swag from them as well. These will be sent out, as we said. Feel free to ask us lots of questions, comments, throw them in the chat box. Darcie's going to be watching that chat, and then if we have time at the end, we'll go through those and we can stick on a little bit longer to chat to you guys about that as well. Awesome. Next slide.
Okay, here we go. There we go.
So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Banff. Some of you may even been here as well. We are located in Western Canada. So Banff is actually the backbone of the Rocky Mountains. And you can see on that map, it starts in the US in Montana and goes all the way up to Yukon. So it's a huge, huge landmass. We're kind of in the lower half there, right on the Alberta, British Columbia border. We're probably the most popular of all of the of all of the parks, which we're very fortunate to be. There's 4 national parks connecting each other, Jasper and Yoho and the Kootenays as well. There's actually 3 other provincial parks that are attached to us as well. So these 7 park system connected make us a World Heritage Site designated by UNESCO. So that's a universal significance for us, which is pretty cool. So if we go to the next slide, just a bit of the history. So even though Banff wasn't created yet, at this time, it actually started when Canada became a country. So primarily this was the eastern provinces that came together. They knew that there was a landmass west of them. And they're saying, we want to get that land. How do we get that land? The US is also fighting for this land. They were pushing up to get to Alaska as well and get all the land up there. So how are we going to stop them? How are they going to convince them to be part of us? And so we reached out to what is now Vancouver and said, hey, if we made a railway connecting us all together, would you join our country? And they actually said, sure, that sounds like a great plan. And so that's what we did. We started building this railway to connect our whole country, and it worked. So go to the next slide. And Rose, this is one of our video clips here. She's going to tell us a little bit more about how the National Park System started and where she is standing in front of.
Did you know that it was hot water that established Banff National Park? Right here in this very spot. This is the Cave-in Basin. It's a National Historic Site in Canada run by Parks Canada. And it commemorates the fact that it was in this location that 3 young railway workers back in 1883 rediscovered the hot springs in this exact location. The government of Canada got very excited when they heard of these warm waters where the train was rolling through, and they decided to make a protected reserve to protect this location for all Canadians into the future. 26 square kilometers was the beginning of Banff National Park back in 1885.
So cheesy. Awesome.
So we'll go to the next slide. That building was not there when they found it. So did not look like that back in 1883 when they made their way out there. So as she said, there were these 3 guys. It's around November. A lot of times it snows here in November, so maybe it probably isn't that warm, probably snow on the ground. And they saw what they thought was smoke, and they started going towards it. We're like, oh, what is that? Like, what's burning? What's out there? And started going towards it, and it turns out it wasn't smoke. It was actually steam. And then as they got closer, they got this foul smell, and it's that, you know, that beautiful rotten egg smell. And so they got closer and got closer, and they felt the steam. Well, it's warm in there, and they looked. It was pitch black. They said it smelled like death. But you know what? They were going to go in there and see what was in there, what was down there, what was waiting for them. So they actually put like a part of a tree down this hole into nothing and climbed down it. And lo and behold, they found this cave. There was not a brick wall and stairs in there when they found it, but it was this cave of really beautiful, nice, warm hot springs. And you have to think, they probably haven't showered in a while either. So like this was a great find for them. And so what they did, like good employees, they went to their employer, which was the railway, and said, hey, we found this amazing outdoor tub, like so great. And the railway said, you know, this is great. We can turn this into a protected area. We can clean this, and we can get people to use this railway that we're building to come out and explore this area. And that's really how all of that started. You could swim in it at one point, but not anymore. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see where the hot springs are today. Awesome. So this is the upper hot springs. This is still located on Sulphur Mountain. So still the same mountain, still one of the natural areas where the hot springs are running. You have a gorgeous view of Rundle, open summer, winter. I strongly suggest going in the evenings. It's a lot quieter up there in terms of people and just noise in general. Like you're just sitting there watching the sun go down. Stunning. So definitely a spot to hit up for sure. Awesome. We'll go to the next slide. So now we have all these people coming out west using the train, trying to come to these hot springs. And they said, well, what are we going to do with them? Where are we going to put them? So enter the castle in the Rockies. So they built this beautiful, beautiful structure, which at the time was owned by the railway. You know, there was a fire, it was built backwards, there's a ghost bride, all these things that Darcie stole from me to tell you about. But it's what we have now today. So it is a castle in the Rockies, and it's absolutely stunning. You can see on the left-hand side, there's a really big tower. Those are actually hotel rooms as well. That is a three-level suite. I've offered to move in and occupy that space for them. They politely shut me down on a number of occasions, but that's actually a room that you can rent out as well. Recently, they've done a ton of work there, so they've renovated their Rundle Lounge, their spa is fully renovated, and I'm just waiting for that to open up so I can jump in there and experience that again. It's been too long since I found a spa day, but that's okay. It's a good thing this camera isn't high definition, that's all. These are the bad jokes I was talking about. I see nobody's laughing on here, okay. That's all right. So what else was I going to say about this? Oh yeah, so there's also summer, winter, you have the Stanley Thompson Golf Course, which is an infamous golf course. Marilyn Monroe has golfed there with a broken foot or a broken ankle, I believe as well, when she was here filming one of her movies. There's a picture of that in their clubhouse as well. So lots of restaurants, outlets, they have high tea, heritage tours, ghost tours, extremely popular as Darcie mentioned, especially around Halloween and that time. So we'll go to the next slide. We have another video clip of Rose.
Here we are, standing on the terrace of the famous Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. Why did they pick this location? I think it's pretty easy to tell. Look at that view. It's pretty incredible. From the Bow River to the Fairholme Range to the Banff Springs Golf Course that we can see in the distance. This is the spot that they chose, and I think they chose wisely.
Oops.
Here we are.
So Rose is right, it's a gorgeous spot there, and we're just gonna go from one view to another. Behind is Cascade Mountain, and Rose is gonna tell us a bit about that as well.
There's nothing better than standing here first thing in the morning and taking a look out at Cascade Mountain, Banff Avenue, and the Banff Avenue Bridge, and reminding ourselves of our natural and cultural heritage that makes this place so special. In the late 1880s, our first superintendent, George Stewart, helped design the town, and he wanted to make sure everyone had that view. The main street rolls straight down so that everyone can see the grand mountain of Cascade.
Awesome. So Rose is standing at the Parks Administration Building, and around there as well, we have Cascade Gardens, which are just stunning, especially in the summer. Once everything's in bloom. And Rose, can you tell me about the rocks at the gardens? Because they're done like geologically. So I believe like each pond, the rocks are different at each of the ponds set up by, which like mimics the geography of the mountain. So it's different types of rocks. Don't ask me too many details. As I said, I'm not a guide, but there's plaques there, and it's really neat to kind of go through and see each of the layers and what they bring to that. Just behind this bridge is our downtown core. So there's so much to do in the downtown. This is where we'll have our museums. Banff used to have a zoo with a polar bear. That is in Central Park. It's a true story. We did have a polar bear at one point in time in Banff. I think that was the early 1900s, 1920 or so, somewhere around there. Not anymore, unfortunately, just grizzly bears and black bears now, no more polar bears, but that's okay. You're also gonna see tons of art galleries, shops, everyone's favorite, the Christmas shop. So Christmas, 365 days a year. That is still here, still going, still amazing. I think I get Christmas gifts for my family there every year, and they know it's coming and they still love it, so good spot to go. Restaurants, nightlife, all that downtown. Rose and I, we have a personal favorite. It's the bowling alley. So we actually play in a 10-pin bowling league in the winter, and it's called High Rollers. It's pins, pints, and pizzas. So they make their own pizzas, 48 beers on tap, and then of course the bowling pins. This year my team won, which is not rubbing it into Rose at all right now. So it's been really awesome because we've been playing the finals for the last 3 years against the same team, and we finally kicked their butt. So I'm really, really proud of that one, and we're getting shirts made, and I will be wearing those around as well once we get that. So something else to look out for. There's definitely, this is not the only view, so we're gonna go to the next slide and see what's just outside of Banff. Two Jack Lake, one of my favorite places. This is what we call a flash freeze, is what this photo is. So actually not very often, Rose and I were talking about it earlier, so she's been here 17 years. And this has only happened twice in 17 years where the lake will freeze over solid without any snow, there won't be any winds, there's no pileup of the ice, and you can go out and skate, and it is phenomenal if you can do this. So I have a photo very similar in it, but I'm sitting on the ice and you can just see my skates sticking up in the mountain in the background. And it's about a week or so that you can actually go out and skate over everywhere. And then, of course, inevitably Mother Nature happens and our natural skating rink is gone. But this is a beautiful, really, really awesome spot. The next slide, we're gonna see this in summer, so it looks a lot different, and Rose is gonna tell us a little bit about that.
Here we are at Two Jack Lake, one of those great spots very close to the town of Banff, easy to drive to. Some folks will even come out here on their bikes. It's really popular with families to get out and enjoy the beautiful waters and enjoy that great view of Rundle Mountain.
Did that cut off a bit? Did that seem to cut off, Lindsay?
All right, am I good now?
Yeah, did that video cut off on us, or was that the finish of it?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, perfect.
So something else, just want to mention, there's a lot of places in town that you can rent sup boards as well. So a lot of people rent a sup board in town, come out here, have a picnic, and just really enjoy being on the water. It's a nice, calm spot, so it's a great, great place to go out and enjoy for sure.
Here we are at Two Jack Lake, one of those great spots.
There we go.
This is going to bring us to a little bit different experience. Right now, this is one of the best ways to social distance within the park, is on the back of a horse. So we have wagon rides and horseback rides, which is really cool because it's Banff Trail Riders that runs it, and we really try to have that authenticity to it, because actually horseback transportation was the first transportation here in Banff. So 140-ish years is how people have been getting around here in Banff, has been on horseback. And so we take that into a lot of the things that we do. There are backcountry lodges, backcountry tent sites. Everything's brought in by mules. So garbage, food, linens, equipment, guest gear, everything's brought in by mules. So I actually went on a backcountry trip last year, and we'll have packers that will, you know, throw everything on their mules, and it'll be one guy on a horse and then a string of 15 mules. So it's one guy and 16 animals, and they're like going on mountain trails. There were definitely points at one point where I'm just like looking down, and there's the edge of the mountain. Hugh is my horse, and I just pet him every time and say, okay, Hugh, please get me there safely. And they really know what they're doing. They're such amazing animals to be able to navigate that terrain. We look at some of the packers that have 16 animals that they're, you know, that they're responsible for, and you see them all working together. That's really, really cool. So for rides, we are up and operating now, which we're super happy about. You can do anything from a 1-hour ride to 6 days in the backcountry. So there really is something there for everyone. We do have the alternative of the wagon and carriage rides as well, which is really great. This is also what we have in winter, so sleigh rides. What you can't tell in this picture is the town is just, you know, not that 500 meters to the left of this photo. And you're just outside of town, and there's nobody, there's nothing around. It's just you and, you know, that horse and the beautiful area surrounding us. We also have private cutter, so for 2 people. We get a lot of proposals. It works better if you tell us you're going to be proposing, because we've had a few times where, you know, guides are just chatting away, telling you about Rundle Mountain or whatever, you know, the horse King or Kong. There actually is a pair of horses named King and Kong. They're always together. So they'll be telling you about those, and then they turn around and they're actually trying to propose to each other. So definitely works better if you tell us it's happening, but that's a really awesome one that we do in the winter as well. And from one animal to another.
Look what we just found right behind me. It's bighorn sheep. These are the rams. These are the symbol of Banff National Park.
Awesome. So if we go to the next slide, so this is when we were out shooting for you guys, and we just happened to run across them. So you really don't have to go far or look very hard at all for wildlife. We have so many different things here: moose, elk, deer, ground squirrels, obviously some grizzly bears, black bears, over 56 different species, and over 200 bird species. So that's a crazy amount of animals that are there. Something I just want to point out is this grizzly bear in particular. He's number 122, so we name them and we give them numbers. His name is the Boss, so you guys may or may not have heard of him. He's a really, really badass bear. And that's why we call him the Boss. So he has fathered a number of different cubs in the Bow Valley. He has also eaten some bears. He's eaten some cubs and some black bears. He's been hit by a train. So he really is like the boss. Like, he runs this valley. He's so famous. He's on a number of shirts. So that's him. That's what somebody's gonna win. So that's, you know you've made it when you're the one animal in this entire area that gets shirts made about you. So that's pretty cool. On the next slide, I think we just have another kind of closer up photo of a grizzly bear. What's really cool is we're seeing so many more of them come out right now. Everyone's out of hibernation looking for food, mating season, all that kind of stuff. So they're really moving and grooving right now.
Lindsay, are you finding way more wildlife in Banff with when people were shut down in their homes for COVID? I know we saw pictures online of more and more animals coming. Did you find that in Banff they were showing up all over the place?
Absolutely. So in the streets of Banff, because we went to full kind of lockdown, and we went pretty early because we are a destination that has a lot of international travel. So fairly quickly we shut down and ahead of a lot of other people. And so we started seeing mainly like deer and elk. They were coming into the town a lot more. And you'd walk down the street, there's just a herd walking along. There's no cars. There's nobody else walking. It's just you and this herd kind of going throughout there.
So quiet.
Yeah, it was a really, really quiet. There would definitely be times where I would go outside and I would hear like the glacials melting, or the glaciers, the snow melting off the mountains, because there was just kind of nothing. No cars, nothing going on. And that's something right now I forgot to mention when we were talking about downtown Banff. So Banff Avenue, 200 blocks are closed to vehicular traffic right now. So it's only pedestrian traffic. We have, restaurants that have their patios in the streets. And it's really, really cool right now just to walk around and see some of these things, because you're really getting to experience Banff and why it's so special, while socially distancing, and it's not taking away from any of the quality of that experience or what makes it special. It's really neat place right now.
Awesome.
Cool. So this is another one of our favorite places, Johnston Canyon. We are quite familiar with it. We have a Johnston Canyon ice walk in winter that we actually go in there 3 times a day. So in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Evening's my favorite, where we go in and light up the canyon. It's really awesome. And we have a Golden Cleat Award for the person who guides in here the most, puts on the most kilometers. And I think the last couple of years it's been the same person, and they're doing like hundreds of kilometers on the same trail every winter. So you can go summer and winter. Winter's definitely our preference. It's just really, really neat to see. You can see the ice formations and the water flowing, and it's such a clear blue. It looks warm, but it's really not. It's very misleading. For me, as I told you guys, I am not a guide whatsoever. Rose laughed at me earlier, said after 4 winters of going into this canyon time after time after time after time, I'm finally able to, so 4 winters, 4 winter seasons, finally able to go up to one wall and find fossils where it shows that it actually used to be an ocean, and I can finally do that by myself. And within a reasonable amount of time. It's hard. It's really, really hard, I'm telling you. Awesome. If we go to the next slide, we have another place that has a special place in my heart. When I first moved out west, I moved to Lake Louise, and I was blown away. So this has a special place in my heart for sure. Here you can go canoeing, you can go hiking. There's 2 tea houses, Lake Agnes and the Plain of Six. This is the place where I first saw a mountain goat in real life, in person, when I was climbing up to the big beehive up there. So that's really cool. Yeah, canoeing's probably one of the most favorite things. Here too, you can skate on the lake. You can go snowshoeing, cross-country skiing. At the end of January every year, they have an international ice magic festival. So they come and do all these beautiful carvings, international teams. It's really, really, really amazing. They get lit up at night. There's a huge castle, ice castle on the lake in front of the chateau. It's a castle in front of a castle, so it's really, really cool. One of my favorite stories here I want to tell you guys. So Lake Louise is actually named after Caroline Louise, Alberta, and this was Queen Victoria's daughter, and she is Princess Caroline. Say Caroline, Louise, Alberta. Oh, Alberta also sounds familiar. The province of Alberta, also named after Princess Caroline as well. I think they were going to name it Lake Alberta, but they didn't want to have the same names. So they changed it to Louise. And somebody says, well, why wouldn't they name it after the Queen? And Mount Victoria is the beautiful glacier behind Lake Louise. And something to note is the Queen, or the glacier, is always above the princess, or the lake. So that's a little tidbit, help you to remember which one is which there. The next one we have is Moraine Lakes of the Valley of 10 Peaks. Again, this is another just absolutely stunning lake. The road is closed in winter, and that's due to avalanche dangers. Usually opens somewhere around the May long weekend, and will close again somewhere around the Canadian Thanksgiving weekend. So within that time, this is also one of the most spectacular places to go and see the Northern Lights, because there's nothing around there. It's just pitch black, and you're pretty high up on the mountains as well. So I've done that a few times. I've gone there at 2 in the morning and tried to see some Northern Lights, and it's stunning. So we have Lake Minnewanka as well, which Rose is going to tell us more about.
Standing here on the shores of Lake Minnewanka. Minnewanka means spirit waters, and it's a significant name to recognize human presence coming in and out of these valleys for thousands of years. This is where they found closed points. Archaeologists have dated back to 13,000 years ago. There was a human presence coming in and out of these valleys. That's quite significant considering the railway was built back here in 1885. Minnewanka is the largest lake in the park, and it's the one lake where you're allowed to go out in motorized boats. They actually do a boat cruise here with the company called Pursuit, and I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful experience, and sometimes you're lucky enough to see bald eagles.
Yep, so that was Lake Minnewanka, as Rose said, one of the biggest lakes out there. The Pursuit does have a boat cruise. They just added a beer and cheese boat cruise as well. So I'm waiting for that to start opening so I can hit the waters and join them on that experience as well. This is what we have for you for our virtual tour of Banff and Lake Louise. Thank you guys for joining us. I know it wasn't the real thing, but we tried to get as close to it as we could. If you have, I know that Darcie is going to hop on and say some things as well, but if you have questions, comments, want to stay around and chat, throw it in the chat box or stay on after and we can talk to you guys a bit more.
There is a question there from Philip, who's has some excellent comments. He used to skip high school, so did I, and went to Banff for lunch, and he said his Totino's still exist there.
Totino's? Yeah, absolutely. Totino's is still a thing, still here, still rocking. We're seeing a lot of different turnover in some of the restaurants lately, but Totino's is still here, still standing, still awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, Banff is such a fun place. And you know what's funny? Because some people think that fried beaver tails are a Quebec thing, and they are. But for me, every time I ever went to Banff, on Banff Ave, they had the beaver tails. So we got a recipe for beaver tails. We're going to send it all out to you, and someone has to try it and send me their results and let me know if they like it. I'm going to try it this weekend because this is the one recipe so far I have not tried yet, but I'm excited to do so. One of the things I want to mention to all of you, besides thanks for jumping on and showing up once again, is that we work with Discover Banff Tours. They're our partner. So whenever you book through Anderson Vacations and put your clients into Banff, we work strategically with Discover Banff Tours, and so the product is amazing. So you can tell by this amazing video, the videos that Rose did, and the quality of the presentation. Lindsay, that was excellent. I absolutely miss going to Banff and Lake Louise. I miss travel altogether, but this has really whet my appetite for getting to Alberta. And if you're in Alberta, you're so lucky because you can go there. We're in BC, and so hopefully we'll be able to get there as well very, very soon. Thanks for all the great comments. I had a few private messages from people who really like the format. I apologize for the bit of the technical difficulty. This is our first time that we've done something that's kind of like multitasking. So we're gonna get better at it, but it's really important. If you're still on here, you guys, there's one coming up in 2 weeks. And when the invitation comes out, the first 50 people are going to receive a gift. And it's gonna be fun, like super, super fun. So when you get the invitation for the one from 2 weeks from now, you gotta like RSVP immediately because I have no pull. If you miss it, I have no pull to get you the free gift. But the free gift has to do with happy hour. That's all I'm getting.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's gonna
awesome.
be so fun, and it'll be interactive. So yeah, and there is a prize package. So we're gonna draw that after we're not still live on the air. But yeah, make sure that you watch for that. Thank you to our partners. Thank you to Lindsay and Rose for so much fun. You guys are awesome. Our agency partners, we could not do this without you. And we're so looking forward to just getting your calls. We're getting busy, like the phones are ringing. So you have to be patient with us because our two people who are answering the phones right now at the front line are doing everything they can to stay on top of things. It's so encouraging. It is, we absolutely can see the light. So yeah, we're super excited. Thank you to everyone. We'll stick on for a little bit if you want to sign off, if you have places to go. I know we went over a little bit over time, which we always do. But if you need to sign off, absolutely sign off. But I see I am reading all your notes. I won't sign off until I've read all your notes. I'd love to chat with Sandra. I'd love to chat with you. All these great comments. Thank you so much. In the 80s, Beth was there in the 80s. I was there in the 80s, Beth. Maybe we did.
I just wanted to mention two things. The presentation, the flow, the information, that's all Rose. Tribute to our guide team, the quality, the time, everything that they put into it. As I said, like I am not a guide, as you could tell probably by some of my facts or almost half facts as I like to call them. So that's all them, and huge shout out to Rose because I definitely wouldn't have been able to do this without her. Another thing I just wanted to mention is for BeaverTails, there is something called the Killaloe Sunrise. This is where the beaver tail originated in Ontario, which is like 10 minutes from where it was originated, was kind of my back home where I lived in Ontario. So whenever I have a beaver tail, it definitely feels like home for me as well.
Yeah, there's so many great restaurants and fun things to do in Banff. So you guys all have to get out there. And I don't know if anyone's on here who was on our Mega Fam, but a few years back, we used to do Mega Fams. And that was when we had agents in 4 or 5 different destinations at the exact same time. And then we bring all the agents together for one final night. We did have one of our grand finales in Banff. And it was a costume party, and it was Cheryl Gilmore was on that fam. I can see she loved that fam. It was a record-breaking fam. So we're looking forward to like getting back to normal where we can start promoting our fams too, because we know that once you guys go with us, you know that the quality and the style of our product. So thank you again to all of you. I will stay on here and answer any more questions and read the comments. I think I'll keep Lindsay and Rose on as well, but if you want to sign off, that's great. Otherwise, you can stick around with us. We're going to probably chat a little bit, but don't feel obligated to stay on if you have somewhere that you need to go. When we're done, I'm going to go clamming. I'm going to drive out to Nanoose Bay and do a little clamming because it's almost the weekend. Tomorrow's Friday, so I can have fresh clams tomorrow night here on Vancouver Island. So that's great. Lindsay, there's a question for you. What was the name where the BeaverTails originated in Ontario?
Killaloe. I'll type it in the chat as well.
Pardon, what did she ask you?
Killaloe.
Where are you from?
Is where it started. Sunrise.
Thanks, Phil. Okay, perfect.
It's not that exciting. It's like sugar and lemon. So it is the most plain of all of the BeaverTails, but that's okay.
You know what? I just see a comment from Sandra, who's in Argentina and joining us for happy hours every time. That's amazing. That's so awesome. So that's fabulous. Thanks for joining us, Sandra. Thank you for everyone for the comments. Thanks, Shelly. And you know what's been really great is there's been lots of agents who have been engaged and asked me to do a bunch of other little virtual events for them. So I'm getting really booked up, But if you need help with anything, you need flat sheets. Oh, I think I missed a couple of slides. I didn't even go to the resources slide to let you know. Of course, we have all the stuff that you need. I got excited. So we'll send this stuff out as well too. But most of you that are still on, I can see Colleen laughing at me. She knows that we do this stuff because we do it for you all the time, don't we? We put together these flat sheets. We'll customize them with your details and all that kind of stuff. So we've got all that. And we've got our travel agent portal. Oh man, I wonder how many people are still left. And questions and answers. So I think we've got through all that. Thank you, everyone. Thanks again. And thanks, Lindsay and Rose. And you know what? Rose did a fantastic job on the videos. That was really fun. And in 2 weeks, when we do our next one, you're going to receive the invitation very soon. Yeah, it's going to be super special. That one's going to be actually live on location somewhere. So hopefully no technical difficulties. Oh, what destination are we doing in 2 weeks? Okay, I'm going to tell you. Saskatoon. Saskatoon's a really great city because it's got this incredible dining scene. Like, it really does. It's awesome. I love going there. There's lots of little secret distilleries. They've got farm to table. So you'll be getting the invitation if you were on here today. So we'll share more about that. Make me a Saskatoon berry pie. I could do that for you, Philip. That is not a problem. You just need to come over here and see me on the island. Excellent. Oh, look, Pip even said, Pip, who's on here helping us out with Angela, and a shout out to Pip too for helping us. She's excited to get out to Banff. So lovely. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend because we're 1 day away. Oh, the draw. We're going to do the draw after we're off. And then so I have to put all the names in a hat. We'll do the draw and then we'll announce it. We'll send an email out to everyone announcing. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Heather. Awesome. Cheers, everyone. Bye now. Take care. Thanks, Lindsay. Hi, Philip.
As usual, that was great, Darcie. Thank you. And
Oh, thank you, Philip. Okay, for sure. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon. Excellent. Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Rose. Yeah, if you have any questions, maybe I'll call you tomorrow or whenever we'll get everything organized to send out to the winner. We'll do the draw tonight, and then you can send it out to the winner. How about that?
Okay, perfect. And we can do follow-up tomorrow too and all that kind of stuff.
That sounds great. Have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much. Thanks for having us be a part of this.
It was awesome.
Good luck clamming.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you. I can't wait. And you guys did a fantastic job. Lindsay, that was exceptional. Really great.
Good. I thought it was great too. Okay. Have a nice night, Darcie.